On this day, in 1865, at Ford's Theatre in Washington, D.C., John Wilkes Booth, an actor and Confederate sympathizer, fatally wounded President Abraham Lincoln. The attack took place just 5 days after Confederate General Robert E. Lee and his army surrendered at Appomattox, officially ending the American Civil War. Booth had lived in the North throughout the war, despite his strong support for the Southern cause. Initially, he planned to kidnap President Lincoln and take him to Richmond, the Confederate capital. However, on March 20, 1865, the day intended for the kidnapping, Lincoln failed to appear at the location where Booth and 6 other conspirators were waiting. 2 weeks later, Richmond fell to Union forces. By April, the Confederate military had nearly collapsed across the South, and Booth resolved to carry out a desperate plan to salvage the Southern cause, learning that Lincoln would attend a performance of Our American Cousin, starring Laura Keene, at Ford's Theatre on April the 14th. Booth devised a plot to assassinate not only the president, but also Vice President Andrew Johnson and Secretary of State William H. Seward. By killing Lincoln and his 2 immediate successors, Booth and his co-conspirators hoped to throw the U.S. government into chaos. On the night of April 14th, conspirator Lewis T. Powell forced his way into Secretary Seward's home, seriously injuring Seward and 3 others. Meanwhile, George A. Atzerodt, assigned to kill Vice President Johnson, lost his nerve and fled. As for Booth, shortly after 10 p.m., he slipped into Lincoln's box and fired a single shot into the back of the president's head. After slashing a military officer who rushed toward him, Booth leapt onto the stage and shouted, "Sic semper tyrannis," Latin roughly meaning "thus always to tyrants, the South is avenged." Although he broke his left leg during the jump from Lincoln's box, Booth managed to escape Washington. The president was carried across the street to a nearby boarding house, gravely wounded. Around 7:22 a.m. the next morning, he died, becoming the first U.S. president to be assassinated. Booth, meanwhile, was relentlessly pursued by Union soldiers and Secret Service agents. He was eventually cornered in a tobacco barn near Bowling Green, Virginia, and likely died from a self-inflicted gunshot as the barn was set on fire. Of the 8 others accused of being part of the conspiracy, 4 were hanged and 4 were sentenced to prison.